In a world where wealth often builds walls between people, there are moments when the truth breaks through those barriers. Today, we bring you a story of power, prejudice, and redemption, one that reminds us that humanity should never be measured by money or status. This is the story of Evelyn Moore, a spoiled, wealthy young woman, and Grace Thompson, a hard-working maid who only wanted to do her job with dignity. But when suspicion turns into cruelty, the lesson learned is one that will never be forgotten. Evelyn Moore had everything: a life of luxury, endless designer clothes, extravagant vacations, and a mansion that stretched as far as the eye could see. The world bowed at her feet, not because of who she was, but because of the name she carried. Born into wealth, Evelyn had never known struggle. She had never washed a dish, never swept a floor, and never gone a day without her every demand being met. Grace Thompson, on the other hand, had worked since she was 13. She knew what it was like to wake up before the sun and return home long after it had set. She was employed as a housemaid at the Moore estate, tirelessly working to support her family. Grace was honest, kind, and always respectful. But despite her loyalty, she was never truly seen until the day Evelyn decided to see her in the worst possible way. It happened one evening, just after a lavish party at the Moore mansion. Evelyn had hosted a grand gathering where celebrities, socialites, and the elite flaunted their wealth. Diamonds sparkled, champagne flowed, and laughter echoed through the halls. But when the guests had gone, Evelyn realized something was missing: her grandmother's diamond bracelet, a priceless heirloom. Panic turned to rage. "Someone stole it!" she shrieked, storming through the mansion. Servants gathered, whispering among themselves, fearful of what was to come. Her eyes darted around the room until they landed on Grace, who was tidying up the mess left behind. "You!" Evelyn hissed, stepping toward her. "You were in here, weren't you?" Grace looked up, confusion written all over her face. "Miss Evelyn, I was just cleaning up. I haven't seen anything." But Evelyn was already convinced. "Don't lie to me," she spat. "You've always looked at my jewelry. You must have taken it." Tears welled in Grace's eyes. "Miss, I swear I didn't take anything." But Evelyn wasn't listening. She turned to the butler. "Search her." Gas filled the room. This was humiliation beyond words. Grace trembled. "You don't need to do this. I am telling the truth." Evelyn's lips curled into a cruel smile. "If you're innocent, you won't mind proving it? Let's put an end to this right now." And with that, she led the way to her father's private medical suite, where the latest in technology awaited. Among the machines stood a full-body X-ray scanner, used occasionally for security purposes. It was never meant for this. Grace swallowed hard. This wasn't just an accusation anymore. This was dehumanization. "Step inside," Evelyn ordered. The room fell silent. The other servants turned away, unwilling to meet Grace's gaze. No one dared to oppose Evelyn's command. Grace took a deep breath and stepped forward, each footfall heavy with injustice. She stood inside the machine as it whirred to life, scanning her from head to toe. Minutes passed, and finally the screen displayed the results. There was nothing. Grace stood there, humiliated, violated, but innocent. The truth uncovered. Silence stretched through the room as Evelyn's smirk faded. The proof was irrefutable. Grace had not taken the bracelet. Then a sound came from the other side of the room. A light metallic clang. The butler turned and gasped. "Miss Evelyn, look!" From beneath a chair, shimmering under the glow of the chandelier, lay the missing bracelet. Evelyn's face paled. She bent down, picking it up with trembling hands. Her arrogance shattered in an instant. The truth was undeniable. She had accused Grace unjustly. She had humiliated an innocent woman, and now everyone knew it. A lesson learned. Grace didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Her silence spoke volumes. She turned, walking away with dignity intact, while Evelyn stood frozen in shame. The other staff members, once too afraid to speak, now looked at Evelyn with quiet disappointment. Even her closest friends, who had stood by in silent approval, now stepped away. Her father, who had witnessed the scene unfold, finally spoke. "Evelyn, come with me." His voice was cold, unforgiving. That night, Evelyn learned a lesson that no wealth could shield her from humility. Her father, disgusted by her actions, ordered her to spend a month working alongside the very servants she had always looked down upon. Scrubbing floors, washing dishes, and feeling the exhaustion that Grace had felt for years, Evelyn came to understand something she had never considered before. True worth is not found in riches, but in character. Conclusion and moral. This story is a reminder that prejudice and power can blind people to the truth. Evelyn believed that her wealth gave her the right to humiliate someone beneath her, but in the end, it only exposed her own flaws. We must remember that dignity is not determined by status, and respect should be given to all, regardless of their position in life. Humility and kindness cost nothing, but their value is immeasurable. Let this be a lesson to never judge a person based on where they stand in society, because in the end, the truth will always shine through, just like it did for Grace. And as for Evelyn, she would never forget the day she learned that the richest hearts are those that know compassion.